Hello and welcome to Creatives in the Spotlight. I'm your host, Paul Hurley, and today we have Mathew Epp with us. Now, Mathew, I believe you are kind of the man behind the scenes here at the NoDa Art House.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I've been here for a while now, yeah.
How long has the NoDa Art House been open?
Officially, I think we're at about a year and a half. We actually acquired the space closer to 2.5 years ago. But for about the first 10 to 11 months, we didn't really do much with it. We pretty much used it as our office. Mm-hmm. And then eventually we got around to being like, hey, why don't we turn this around and give it to the community?
There you go.
It's really not what we need for an office space. We really only needed the front room for the office space, about a 10 by 10 room. And for some reason, we got a 2,000 square foot warehouse.
But you guys have done amazing work in there, building sets,
yeah,
backdrops.
We've turned it around, yeah.
So you created a spot where creatives can come in and make their visions a reality and their dreams come true.
Yeah, we really have. It's been really cool to see, man. We've got a lot of different artists that have come through here. Like you said, these people who are trying to turn their dreams into something, people who are working professionals, and people who just do it for fun. That's the best part, is it's such a wide variety. Like, we're not just stuck to one audience. So.
Well, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, it is.
Now, you started a foundation as well, correct?
Yeah, that's the newest initiative on our end. We've had the studio, NoDa Art House, for, like I said, about a year and a half now, and it's been great. We've been able to get in front of a lot of people, give them affordable access, give them a chance to, create different things, be a part of our events. But what we really want to do now is, take everybody that we've collected, this audience, this community, and give them a little bit more, give them some education, because a big part of that audience are people that, aren't really familiar with how to turn their hobby or their passion into something that can actually make them money, something that can actually, fund them on a day-to-day basis. And a big part of that is going to be education. A lot of the schools around here don't offer education in videography, photography, content creation, what we offer here. These media arts. So our first initiative is the full-time creator program. It's a part of our foundation. Yeah, and then that's been a big push we're in the middle of right now, shooting for June 10th as the first date of the program. So
okay, and I think you've got an event coming up, next weekend?
Yeah, we've got some events on the way to that program to more or less give some further semblance to the community. And the events that we're offering, we want to try and make them, about the community, about the foundation, make the donations and the proceeds go back into the program, just to try and make the program the best we can. Events are always a good way to raise money, get the community together, spread awareness, exposure.
And networking is so vital in this business.
And networking too, yeah, of course. We're going to try and network everybody together there. But yeah, that's May 24th. That's a film screening event. We're calling it spring screening instead of spring cleaning. It's kind of a play on words, but yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I just recently learned that I was invited, so I'll be there.
Hell yeah, you will. Yeah.
But we have a really good time here at NoDa Art House.
Yeah.
I just got to give you tremendous props for what you've done here, what you allow us to do here. And, if you're looking for a place to shoot something, you need to check out the NoDa Art House.
Yeah. If you're just looking for a place to shoot, that's like the best part. Is it's like, we're not trying to push the program on everybody. We know not everybody needs the education. If you are somebody who's kind of new, or you're just trying to learn some tips, tricks, trying to get in front of, maybe making some more money or just making money, period, that's who the foundation's for. It's trying to create entrepreneurs, create, creatives, and, pretty much give them workforce access, right? That's like our big initiative. If you look at the pillars of like what nonprofits do, it's like, workforce access, workforce accessibility is kind of the path we've taken, because we just feel like we've seen so many talented people come in here. And one thing we want to see more of in the city of Charlotte is artists getting paid. Yeah. So that's like a really big part of it. But to your point, though, if you just want a cool place to shoot as well, this is the place to go. If you just, if you're not really interested in, making money with it, you just want to check out our diner set or vintage set, come do a podcast, we got it all, and we're not going to rip you off on the way there. We're going to give it to you all.
Yeah,
so.
You guys have got probably one of the most affordable budgets
in
this industry.
Yeah, I think it's just because you see a lot of these spaces here in Charlotte, because it's like a smaller market, and like I said, a lot of the artists in the city aren't getting paid. What you have happen is these people who will build the studios, they're like, oh, so there's a smaller market here. It's not so saturated. well, then we'll just hike the prices up and just make it more expensive. You go down to Atlanta, you find a studio like ours about the same rate. Around here, we're a unicorn.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't be, but we are. So maybe that'll change some things around here. I'm talking to you. I won't call out some studio. I was about to call out some studios. I had a couple studios on the dome, man, but you know who you are. There are some studios out there, $100 an hour, and you got half the shit we got. Yeah. Now I'm saying too much now, but
no, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
You know, there are out there, and they are just they're looking to retire.
That's all it is. Yeah, they're just looking to make a penny. I'm on artists who don't really have.
We know what it's like on a starving artist's budget.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is, I've been in so many films just in the last 3 years. Everybody that I know is like, man, you must be loaded, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you don't know the film industry.
No, especially not around here, man. It's not like that. There's not too much money to go around, man, with I would say with some of the film stuff specifically, there's very little work money. I think some of the other photography, videography, commercial work in that commercial department, there is a good bit of work in the city. And so we just want to get the talent in front of it, though. I think that's there's a big gap there. I will say that people don't know how to go from hey, I'm just shooting stuff to hey, I'm actually involved in commercial projects. Mm-hmm. And we want to try and bridge that gap in some way with some of the education and networking opportunities.
And we've done some of that on the side as well.
Me and you have, yeah. There's a lot of that commercial stuff, and commercial stuff's always cool. But one day I'd love for the city to get in front of some of these more artistic projects and get paid top dollar for it. On the film side of things, be great. Even on the photography side of things, these artistic editorial shoots. There's not really too much of it around here. I hear about editorial photographers come through here all the time, and they're just struggling to make ends meet. They're working coffee shop jobs and just side hustling, but. I'd love to see some of the more artistic stuff come to the city. It just takes time, I think. You see Atlanta's got a good base growing. Hopefully, it'll spread over.
They do. I've been down to Atlanta on several shoots, and their studios, huge, and just absolutely phenomenal with the work and the sets that they build.
Oh yeah, man.
I was on the set of Tulsa King, and the entire bar was built in the studio.
I bet, yeah.
And it was oh my God.
It looked real, right?
Yeah. Everything was there. It worked. And it was oh, man, you guys built a bar inside a studio. I dig it, whatever. So,
we're trying to do that right now, but it's about probably 100th of the budget, just trying to make it work with pallets we find outside. But yeah, I know I haven't actually been down to Atlanta before. I've never seen the studios down there, but I imagine they're the real deal now, Over the past decade or two, they have just exploded the space, the scene down there. So the closest I've seen is I've been through New York, through some of the museums and some of the sets they have up there, some of the studio sets, but it's even still, I feel like we're not even close down here, man. It just upsets me.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, hopefully we're making a wrinkle, making a small
And you're taking
effect.
a few folks, and helping them develop their skills.
Yeah.
John, you've taken under your wing and given him some purpose and training and help here at the NoDa Art House, and he's excelled.
Yeah, he definitely has. Yeah, we're trying to take a couple people like him. We've got a few guys who have kind of been part-time employees, managers, kind of just people who have kind of been able to fly under the wing and just kind of see how it all works and, develop their skills on an entrepreneurial side and also on a creative side, helping them, create content for the business and also helping them, create their own content and learn how to excel their artistic visions, because it's a business at the end of the day too, right? With a lot of the things that we want to do, you want to try and make some money from it and, try and, get people to buy into it. And those are some small things we've helped John and some other folks around here, but just want to take it further, man. That's all. Want to give everybody a bit of education.
If you can actually make enough money to support yourself and live comfortably doing what you love to do.
Yeah.
Create films, create music, create, stage plays, whatever you're into. If you can make enough money to support yourself, then you're living your dream.
Right, yeah.
And ultimately that's what all of us want to do. We want to live our dream. We want to wake up every day and say, hey, what set am I going to be on? You want to be excited. You want to be, motivated to target what it is that makes you happy and make enough to survive off of it.
Right, yeah.
And the majority of us get up every day and go to a dismal job just to pay the bills.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's reality.
Yeah, but I think the key is that to get there, I will say, you know, it's all, you know, great dream, great fantasy and all, but like to get there and actually do it, you got to put in a lot of hard work.
You do.
And I feel like sometimes people forget that part, you know, because of the glamour and the, you know, all the shine and fun and hype that comes around being an artist, being a filmmaker, being a photographer, being a professional in any one of these artistic pursuits. You know, there's so much glamour and you see all the buzz and all the, you know, attraction that they get. But in order to get there, it requires a lot of damn work, man. And sometimes I feel like people forget that and think that, you know, oh, I picked up a camera and I understand composition, or, oh, look at me, I know how to do a couple accents and I'm like good on camera. But it's like, it's not just that, man. You've got to wake up every day and you got to figure out how the hell you're going to figure it out. Every day you've got to just grind and keep going.
How can you get better every day?
How can you get better? How can you get in front of more people? How can you, you know, better optimize what you do, or how you approach people, or just whatever it is? Or like these little things that you just have to try and improve on every day in order to like really get where you want to be in the industry. It's a really tough industry. And I think a lot of the times it's the soft skills, not the hard skills, that get you there, you know?
You know, and nobody really sees the behind the scenes, how many hours you have to dedicate to it, how many hours you're on set.
Yeah.
You know, equipment's not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's.
But I was saying, yeah, like
it's a battle.
The hard skills, like the technical skills, and like, you know, the ability you might have, you know, and I think that applies to both acting, filmmaking, photography, any artistic pursuit. The hard skill, the technical skill, right? You acquire the equipment, you're competent with the equipment, you know, maybe you're even excellent with the equipment. That's great. That's all good and dandy, right? You should have that bare minimum. But people just get there and then they're like, oh, what do I do now? You know, it's like, oh, I have the camera that's $5,000 and I can shoot X, Y, and Z with it. I'm perfect. I'm the best there is. But now what do I do? Right, but that's when you have to have those soft skills, those things that are like, I know how to approach somebody. I know how to market myself. I know how to, you know, present myself in a room full of people that I don't know. You know, I know how to, like, you know, talk with people. I know how to, like, close a deal with somebody if somebody potentially is interested with me. That's a skill in and of itself, you know, because sometimes
absolutely.
People will get there and then they don't know how to close a deal and then it just peters out, right? There are so many of these like little soft skills that you just have to understand, you know, persuasion, communication, like things like that really, in my opinion, are probably more important than the technical hard skill. Because
closer is very important in this business.
It is, because I'll tell you, I see a lot of people here who don't even have that great of work, and yet they're closing the deals. They're making the most money. And then I see these people over here with great damn work, and they're not doing shit, man. They're not making any money. They're over here just great art. And this applies to everything. I'm not just talking to filmmaker specific or photographer specific. I'm talking to every art form. There are people who do great work and yet just do not know how to sell themselves, who just do not know how to present themselves, communicate, market, any one of these things. They have no soft skills. So finding a balance of that is like so important, I think, and it's something that I think every artist has to go through at some point, and either they swim or they drown, right?
That's kind of what the foundation's about, right?
In some way, we're trying to take those people who are just so focused on the art side of it and haven't thought of any of the business side of it, and trying to kind of find a middle ground there. I'm not saying all these artists should go out and be business owners next day and just drop their art and, you know, everything is like, yeah, I'm here for the business. No, you got to keep that artistic integrity, but you've got to find a balance, and you've got to figure out, you know, hey, if I want this to be my dream, if I want this to be my reality, if I want to get paid for this, unless I am the 0.1%, and, you know, like fucking Picasso out here, I have to deal in both worlds, you know?
Yeah.
Because, you know, nobody's going to just find me and be like, oh my God, he is heaven on earth. This is, you know, the next Picasso, the next whatever, right? There's got to be some wheeling and dealing. And a lot of people they don't know that. So, or if they don't know it, they just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So,
well, you know, and it's funny though, because a lot of these creatives, they don't mind getting in front of the camera. They don't mind being, you know, the center of the entire program or event.
Yeah.
But then they choke up when it goes to closing a deal on something to, you know, make that dream come true. And it's rare that you find both.
It is. It really is. I mean, I think we're getting better as a whole in the city. You know, I feel like I've seen some growth, and you know, it takes time also, I think, you know, because you asked me 5 years ago if I was like a great closer, if I was great with my communication and like, you know, just my presence, sales skills, marketing, all that. I would say, yeah, but I wouldn't, I wasn't, I would fake it. I would try and fake it at least, but I would tell you that I wasn't great. But over the years, I've gotten much more comfortable, much better at it. I've focused and put more time into it. And at this point now, I feel like I'm in that middle ground where it's like I understand the artistic element, and I think I still have a good eye as an artist, but I also understand the business. I also understand that, you know, there are clients and there are deals to close, and that there is a way to present yourself to a business owner or in front of a business that would be different than just you showing your art, right?
Right.
Everything has intention, every piece of art, every piece of content, however you want to call it. So,
because there's a message in it. There's something that the artist felt. Something that they want to convey.
Right.
And they do that through artistic, you know, creation and video or art or music. Yeah. And, you know, you've allowed a lot of people, you know, I was just in a music video here, what was it, a couple of weeks ago. And
it was Juan De La Tour, I think, right? Yeah, Juan had that video, yeah.
That was phenomenal. We had a
That guy's a real talent, man.
He
yeah.
is. I love working with Juan, and I love working with you guys.
Yeah.
You know, there's several production companies.
We haven't worked together in a while, have we now?
It's been a hot minute.
When was the last one we did? I'm just trying to think about it. Now we're derailing a little bit here.
Baby Blue?
Was that it? Is that years ago, man?
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
Oh, my God. Man, we got to get back something together. Maybe this commercial thing. We'll see how involved I am in it. But, yeah that'd be cool. I just haven't seen you.
We can't talk too much about that.
Yeah.
For, you know, the clients, so on and so forth. But
Yeah. We got something cooking potentially here in the pipeline. But, yeah, it's been a while. And, yeah, I know. There's been a lot of cool stuff. It was cool to see you in that music video, man. That was a good event. We had a nice little event here. Speaking of the foundation and everything, yeah, the Bacalo Stars. You got to check that out if you hadn't already. I think we saw some footage on the Instagram. Right. But, yeah, it was cool seeing that video premiere and, yeah, just having that fun sort of music. A little out of my comfort zone, truthfully. I just didn't really know what they were about. And
I had a blast.
Yeah, it was fun, yeah. I just didn't know what I was walking into. I was like, damn, this music it's wild. Yeah. It's like that ska style music, but Spanish, reggaeton. It was a crazy hybrid.
Made me want to dance. I was like, hey. So
it was cool, man.
You know, but yeah, you have a lot of really amazing talent come through here, and I love being a part of it and being a part of the foundation as well. And
thank you, man. Yeah, this podcast is a part of the foundation. You know, we're looking to sponsor and have these like different artists come out here. Paul's been one of them. You know, we sponsored him. You know, so if you've got an idea, you've got a concept, whether it's a podcast, a show, an event, something like that, feel free to reach out. You know, John Zupa IV, he's the man.
Yes, he is.
He helps run things around here, and he'll make sure your dreams come to reality.
Now, Matt, the event next weekend, you guys are looking for another film to feature. Is that correct?
We are looking for one more film. We're throwing some posts up in the Facebook groups around town right now to see if we can find one. But if we don't, anybody listening, if you got a film under 15 minutes, May 24th, 8 p.m., bring your cast out, your crew out. It's free admission. You know, come support the foundation. You know, that'll be pretty much all we're taking in terms of proceeds. We'll be giving drinks out and stuff like that, and you want to kick back to us, that's all. But yeah, we're trying to get one more film in there. Right now we've got Eugene Bennett, we've got Andrew Smith, Hussein Basubar, John Zupo, and then I've got an old film of mine in there as well.
Which one?
I'm not looking forward to showing it. I had a film I did about 2 years ago at this point called Eden Avenue. And it was written by a buddy of mine I went to college with named Ethan Stover, and then he co-directed it with me. And, it just didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. But it's about time to give it up and show it to the people. You know, they've been asking for it. So
you haven't even released it yet?
No release. This is the first time. This is
wow. And it's over 2 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just under 2 years, but yeah, this is our first premiere of it. And like I said, it's been held back so long because I'm just not a fan of it. I just don't think it's great, but it's good.
We are our own worst critic.
That's true. That's true.
You see something you do and you're like, ah,
yeah.
Oh, I don't want anybody to see this. And then everybody loves it. And you're like, really? What do you love about it?
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how people respond to it, because really not many people have seen it. Just pretty much me and the editing crew behind it. And yeah, it's just been kind of kept away for a while. But we're like, it's time to go. Ethan, the writer and co-director, isn't going to be able to make it, but it was his baby. I helped co-direct it. I would say it's not really my vision exactly, which is why it's kind of weird for me to have my name on it and kind of be the one to present it. But, I guess if he's never going to get around to it, I guess I have to do it, and we're doing it. May 24th.
You got to come see it.
Yeah, come see it.
Come hang out with us. Check out the studio. If you're creative, you're going to want to see the NoDa Art House.
Yeah.
You guys have got so much stuff in there that the creatives can use to help their visions come to life. Mm-hmm. And man, you guys just don't get enough props. You don't get enough publicity, because this place ought to be crawling with creatives.
I know.
And there's some really talented people that come through here.
Yeah, there are.
Every time I come in here, there's somebody coming through. And it's like, oh, you did that?
Right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And it's really amazing that there's that much talent in this area.
It really does. It surprises me. Week by week, I see the different photographers, filmmakers, music artists. We've had everything from like yoga classes to freaking podcasts to people have come in here and taught like classes to realtors or classes to different rug tufting and like all this crazy stuff, man. Like every kind of art form you could think of. Like, it's wild what they do with it, and I love to see the variety. So anything you can think of, man, it's a space where let your imagination come to life.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Matt, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
You guys come see us next Saturday. You're going to want to check it out.
Yep.
And I guess we'll see you next week. Thanks for checking out the show. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks.